Yo, 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 it's your boy Mac Ether with another one. Shout out to the party. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. This is obviously from another dictionary, out of the 15th century, pre-race theory. Even though it's funny, it got Moorish race in here. You should see that, right? But what I want to make sure you see and understand in this source, Moorish race, dark, swarthy. You see swarthy. Then underneath you see now, a Moor, Blackamoor, or Negro. There's a lot of records with that term right there in it, outside of Negro, and it's synonymous prior to race theory. So when we get into this source for today, Black History Month, yep, I want you to see the whole thing. Black History Month. What I got for you here is, peek game now. Scott language word used from the 1500 to 1570. Old French, by the way. French even get this, in their language too. MORIEN /MAURIEN. That's going to be like for Mauritania. Yeah, Maury. Then Latin, you got MAURUS, meaning a person identified as a Moor, a dark, complex person associated with the Moorish populations. This is the same root as Moor, Moorish, Blackamoor. The dictionary explicitly defines it three ways. The entry gives three meanings: adjective, ethnic identity, Moorish, of Moorish race. This means the word describes someone belonging to the Moorish peoples, which historically included populations connected to Iberia, Spain and Portugal, North Africa, the Mediterranean region, Levant-connected Moorish populations, also dark, complex persons in Europe. Look who's being lumped into that Moorish classification. Swarthy, dark, complex people in Europe. This was an imperial ethnic descriptor, not a modern nationality, because it predates of most of these nations today that we see around, even in North Africa and places today in the continent or even Europe, and how they developed with the crowns. So adjective, physical appearance, obviously the appearance is going to be dark-skinned, swarthy. And this means the word could describe skin tone and complexion. Swarthy historically means dark-skinned, brown-skinned, darker European or Mediterranean complexion. This proves it was used as a phenotypic descriptor, not strictly geographic. So now, as you see there where it says C, noun, a person, a Moor, a Blackamoor, Negro. This is the most important part. It shows that in early Scottish usage, these words were interchangeable descriptors. Interchangeable. Negro was not only like the term that people are used to hearing today, but originally a continental African ancestry was not applied to it. It was a descriptive category tied to the Moorish/Blackamoor classification system. Classification system. Yeah, that's right. So when we look at everything that we see here from this source here, this is from Scottish Dictionary, and all them people that got them Scottish surnames or different European French surnames, etc., in your family heritage, that swarthy individual being called a Negro, yeah, Blackamoor. That's what they were being called on descriptive paperwork before they came into America, or even when they got into America in colonial situations prior to 1705, the Virginia race laws that were passed. So within that context, though, a little bit more here is obviously 1504. If you see at the top, it's going to deal with the word Morin. And that line right there, the first line underneath the adjective and the nouns, you see Morin, Moryen. That word that's dealing with a person by the name of Peter. You know what I'm saying? And Peter was described this way in 1504. That's right. So this proves that these individuals were present in Scotland. They were employed. They were recognized as a distinct ethnic appearance category. So the people that are in, they call Black Europeans in this region, this is the category that they're being described to be in, like how today in Americas, they're saying the Negro, and then later on they said the African. But originally, this term was the term describing people in their region who could be a Scottish-born person, but will be identified descriptively as a Blackamoor or of the Moorish race because of their complexion of skin, swarthy. So this confirms a key historical sequence of terminology. Chronologically, before 1600, primary terms used in Europe and Britain: Moor, Blackamoor, Morien, or Maurian. Now, after 1600s, the Spanish and the Portuguese administrative system increasingly used Negro. So we start to see the transition. That's why you see it being used even in the Scottish here, going into this time frame of the 16th century. As you see, 1570 will put you there. So within that, 1705, the Virginia race laws were passed, and Anglo-American, Anglo-Saxons as they would say, Anglo-born Americans, race laws started to shift, and Negro became the dominant legal classification in the British colonies, the 13 colonies. See what I'm saying? This shows a linguistic transition. You know what I mean? So everybody got to go ahead and check out these records that are actually predating the race theory that people debate about, with the word Negro only being identified with coming out of the continent of Africa. And they're not talking about North Africa because they mentioned that here within this context of the Moorish race being tied to Iberia, the Mediterranean, Europe, and obviously Africa. So West Africa is the thing. The sub-Saharan part is really where they try to throw us a loop, because it's later on when they say the Negro is tied to Africa, they point everybody down to the corridor they call the Guinea. Shout out to all the folk tied to Angola and the Inquisition, Blackamoors, and the folks out to Guinea, that mixed with each other and miscegnation during that time frame. But we just want to be on the record that we know that what's being used on the record. So it was used to describe persons living in Scotland, England, Iberia, the Mediterranean, Europe. This matches colonial records that also show Blackamoor in these areas tied to royal courts, military, or service positions. This is the term that you're looking for. You're not looking for somebody being called an African in Scotland, England, Europe, Iberia before the 1500s. You're not going to find it because it's not being used. And that's a Black history moment. Blackamoors out there that to say that they just happen to be Negroes at the full extent. So let's get back to the term that predated it. You know what I'm saying? In the 13 colony records, the British records, and even the Spanish and the Portuguese that know the people that they hit with the Inquisition. Tap in with us this Sunday service. Shout out to the party. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. Till next time. Peace.